Hi everyone, back with another layout today. I found these photos of my son from a few years ago and I'm trying to get some old photos scrapped, so I wanted to get these ones done. So I had a whole bunch. I've been sitting in his high chair having a mess, so I just wanted to put all of them on the one layout and get them done. So I pulled out the Lullaby papers. They're from the annual catalogue and it's supposed to be the baby range, but these papers, although they're really great for babies, they're not really specifically got anything on them that is baby-ish. So you can use them for other things, which I have. I've used them for guy cards and floral cards and all sorts of things. So they're just pretty little patterns, and on this white sheet on the right that I'm using, there's little tiny hearts, which are really cute. Okay, so I've just cut up some of those papers, and I used a crumb cake base there and just cut the papers a little bit smaller. I was going to use the three larger photos down the left, so I thought just a nice, the strong pattern, just 1/3 of the papers here, just down the side. And I decided just to ink up my edges because it was just a bit stark with those papers. Even though they all match, they were from the one range, they didn't really sort of gel together. Because it was just so straight, and yeah, I don't know. But anyway, just giving that little bit of crumb cake inking around the edge just really brought it together. So it's hard to see on the camera, but when you see the layout in real life, it just gives that little bit extra. Okay, so I just stuck everything down here. It was pretty simple because I've got so many photos on this layout. I didn't want to go crazy with too much of anything, and I'm already using 3 different pattern papers, so don't want to go too crazy. So I just sanded all the edges of my photos, which I always do. So I use the Stampin Up sanding block, which isn't available anymore. It was a great tool. I don't know why they got rid of it. But if you don't have one of the sanding blocks, you can just use a nail file or some sanding paper. And I just put it right on the edge of my cutting mat and run it along the edge. And it just gives a crisp white image around the outside. But you could get the same effect from matting your photos or from just inking them around the edges. But that's what I do. Okay, so I just sort of played around with how I wanted the photos to lay out on my page, and I knew I wanted to use this Gorgeous Grunge stamp set with this page because my son is creating a mess, and Gorgeous Grunge just lends itself to a mess. So I knew I wanted those 3 photos down the left, so I did that and just put some of that grunge underneath on the whiter paper because it's easier to see than on the more solid paper, the more the chevron paper, I should say. So I did that, and I'm just playing around now with these ones on the right on how I wanted them and what where I wanted my title and my journaling to go. So I went away and grabbed some letters. And I ended up using letters from the Happiness Is and the Everyday Adventure Project Life accessory packs. I just felt that they matched with my papers. So I decided I was just going to go ahead and write my journaling with what I wanted to put on there, and then I could work out where things go on the top. So I really liked how I had the 2 photos there. And this little piece of, it's Crush Curry striped paper. It was just the offcuts of one of the background pieces, just flipped over. And I thought, well, that works. Just use it. So I was just playing around there, just cut a little banner out of the paper with the hexagon punch and inked the edges and just thought, yep, chuck a few more splats around where those photos are going to go. And I thought, if I have this set like this, then I can do my title across that pattern paper strip, and then I can work out my embellishments from there. So once again, it's very simple. There's not too much to it. There's already enough photos, enough strong pattern paper that I don't want to go crazy. So yeah, so I just put my splatters around the top of my photos there, where my lettering is going to go on top of the journaling, and then a little bit at the bottom. So I just surrounded everything to make everything cohesive. Okay, so I called this dinner time. So it's about, even though these photos are from a while ago, I just wanted to put down some journaling about my son when he was younger around dinner time. So it's not specifically for these photos of this date. It's just some general journaling. And I find that that's, if I haven't written the journaling down when I take the photos and I do the scrapbooking for my photos years later, it just sort of has to be a bit of a retrospective sort of journaling, not specifically about this night. Okay, so I called dinner time and I just used those cork letters and some of these little black letter stickers. And I really love how this turned out with those two little photos sitting on top of this title and then the journaling underneath. So it's just, you just play with your photos on your layouts, and I just find sometimes they just fall into place and everything works out. Okay, so I played around with those letters, getting them all straight. And then I thought for my embellishments, I didn't want big embellishments on this. I just needed a few little points. And I always do the designer things of using the triangle, threes, rules of threes and that sort of thing. So I didn't want too much, but I grabbed out my little heart punch from the Itty Bitty Accents punch pack and punched out a whole bunch of hearts. And so now I was just trying to work out my points of where I wanted to put my embellishments. So I put them at the top and the bottom of my journaling and photos over on the right. And then on the ones on the left, I was going to just do a few little embellishment points at the top and bottom of the line separating the pattern papers, and it just didn't look right at all. So I played around a little bit and ended up moving them just a bit onto the side, and then everything just seemed to gel together nicely. So I was just inking the edges of my hearts there just to match everything that's on the page, and I was happy with this. This is where I wanted my points to be. Now I just had to figure out exactly what I wanted in each of my embellishment points. It needed a little bit of something extra, so I grabbed out some baked brown sugar cardstock, some scraps that I had, and cut out a couple of circles. So I knew baked brown sugar matches with these papers as well. So just cut out a couple and put it underneath a couple of those embellishment points. I didn't put it in the other 2 points around my title and journaling because it just didn't fit right. So I was happy with those 3 points. And then a little bit of something extra. I just used a little bit of scrap from that paper range. I just cut a strip of the crushed curry stripe, and I just made tiny little banners and just sort of put them in those embellishment points. I put some on top of the circle, some underneath, and then I also put one at the bottom of my journaling. So that all tied everything in together as well. And then as you can see on the left of my layout there, these are the new Itty Bitty Accents epoxy stickers. That's in the new Occasions catalogue, and they're super duper cute. There's hearts, stars and circles in 2 different sizes, and they're clear. So you can use them clear, which is what I did with mine, or you can obviously stick them onto solid cardstock or pattern paper and then cut around them, and then you have whatever's you've put it on shining through those little epoxy stickers. So very cute. I'm so glad Stampin' Up's bringing out these little extra bits and pieces. Great for scrapbooking. Of course you can use them for card making, 3D projects, anything else that you can think of. But I love all the bits and pieces that they're bringing out. So if Stampin' Up is watching this, please bring out more. I love them. Okay, so I just added a few of those stars from that pack around in my embellishment points. So I've got little hearts and stars running around. So as you can see, this took the longest time, all this little fiddly bits and pieces to go in my embellishment points. But all up, the layout only probably took me probably less than 40 minutes, I'd say. It didn't take me long at all. So it was a nice design, and I will use this design again. I'll put it down in my little sketchbook and use it another time. And the last thing I added to my layout was some candy dots. So these are the neutrals, and I just grabbed, I'm not even sure which colour of dots I used, but it was just a few little dots around my embellish points just to finish things off. So that's it. That's my layout. I'm really happy with it. You can check out my blog, scrapronnie.com, for all the details of all the products that I've used. And thank you for joining me, and keep checking out my YouTube channel for all my projects. Thanks.